Welcome to Sass and the Beard. Kristen Foster here. Tonight we are visiting with Andrea Lee, our state auditor. And this is a pre-recorded episode because Nathan and I were getting a couple of weeks off, so we recorded this early to get in here and talk with Andrea, who is pretty much done every job in state and local politics, I think. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you kind of came up through politics.
Real easy. And first, thanks. I mean, I watch you guys, and it's really fun. I don't watch you live a lot of times, I'll be honest, because I'm going to church on Wednesdays. But and so I try and catch you in between. We moved here in '82. My husband with the nuclear plant. His parents were from Paris, Arkansas. So he, in high school, grew up watching, coming to visit his grandparents and seeing the nuclear plant being built. So when he got out of the Navy, he brought us here. And I was raised an Air Force brat all over the United States, so I have what they call the Brady Bunch accent. I don't fit in anywhere.
Or everywhere.
Or everywhere. You're right. Thank you. I love the cup half full. I love that. So I was busy raising 3 children and got the bug to run for an office. And I did some research and decided justice of the peace is what I was interested in, which is one of the quorum court members. Back then, there were 11 in Pope County. And that was around 1997. And I ran and beat a really nice gentleman who had been county treasurer and then was JP. Really nice man. And he was such a gentleman. And I think he felt really confident he would win because I was a nobody. And I did the classic shoe leather. I just walked door to door. I spent, I think, maybe $400, and I just handed out this little black and white card that said, vote for me, basically, and won by 50 votes. And that was back in the day when the vote wasn't finished counting until about 1 in the morning. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty wild. And then after that, served 3 years. I went and ran for the city council and served there 2 years, and then ran for state representative, where I served another 6 years or 3 terms. And I was about ready to be finished, and a lot of people got together and said, no, you really need to think about running for statewide office. And boy, I thought about it and researched it again and decided to run for auditor and won.
And this is now your 3rd term, right, as auditor?
Second term. Auditors, the constitutional officers are 2 4-year terms.
Oh, okay.
So this is, I'm 1 year into my 2nd term.
And then at the end of that, you'll be term limited,
Correct.
right? Okay. So we know Arkansas is a big fan of term limits, but so what does the auditor actually do? Because I don't even really know. I mean, I've walked by your office in the Capitol and waved, but I really don't even know what you do.
And I'm sure years and years ago, when the state was much smaller, the auditor's office actually audited. It doesn't any longer. A group called Legislative Audit actually goes out and does the audits. They're the ones that audit our schools, our cities. They audit me. They're the actual auditors. So what my office does is I have 3 duties, basically. In fact, I'll talk about one of these so everyone can go check for their unclaimed property in the Great Arkansas Treasure Hunt. So the 3 duties I have. The first duty is what I call part of a 3-legged stool. So Department of Finance and Administration collects all your tax dollars. They collect your fees for driver's license, for car tags, etc. The Treasurer's Office, the second leg of the stool, they're the ones that invest those funds, and they put them where they're supposed to be. The legislature determines the pots. And so the treasurer is responsible to keep them in those pots, make sure they're funded, and they invest. And then the third leg of the stool is a person who writes all the checks. So you don't want the person that takes the money in, nor do you want the person that's holding the money in the fund. You want a third person to actually write the checks. And so that's what the auditor's office does. We write anywhere, 2 to 50,000 checks a day, depending on, for example, tax season. Mm-hmm. That's when we have our highest volume. The second thing I do, and it's an odd thing, I've just decided that somewhere along the lines, a bunch of old guys were sitting in a back room smoking cigars, and they decided to swap duties. Oh, hey, you're Secretary of State. How about you do this now? Hey, let's go talk to those legislators. And because the duties don't always match. And years ago, the auditor's office actually did all voter registration. So anyway, so this is where we're at today. That's a mini history rabbit chase there. So my office is the payroll officer and HR officer for statewide elected officials. So all your prosecutors, all your judges, all your legislators, all your constitutional officers, and several of their employees. So about 620 people. We handle all of their HR and their pay, which seems like an easy job, but I can tell you stories.
It does not sound like an easy job to me.
Well, it's an easy job for people who are accountants and like that, but where it gets funny is one elected official can't tell another elected official what to do. And I really believe everyone, because all state employees are required now to have all their pay direct deposited. Well, I can't tell another elected official they have to do that. I think if the state employees do it, it's appropriate. So it's a requirement to work in my office. If you work in my office, you have to have direct deposit. So I started sending out emails and kind of hitting people up in the hallway saying, I noticed you don't have direct deposit. Would you get on direct deposit for your pay? And I actually had one male legislator stop by my office one day, and he's one that I had served with, and he goes, stop sending me those emails. I said, what is the deal? He goes, I am not going to direct deposit my payroll. I said, that's crazy. I said, I hit a button on Thursday night and I see it go into your account, and Friday morning it's there. If you don't have direct deposit, then I cut a check on Friday, it gets mailed out, and it's between you and the post office at that point. And I said, so I'm lost. And he said, I do not want my wife to know what I make. I said, dude, you have marriage problems.
Right.
And that is way bigger than me getting you to direct deposit. So you just go on your merry way. So I have that little duty. And then the most fun part is the Great Arkansas Treasure Hunt. And the Great Arkansas Treasure Hunt, oh man, it's unclaimed property. Unclaimed property is where any monies that were held by a company or a person, that person could not find the owner of those funds. And so after a certain number of years, it is sheets to the state. Now, we take possession of it, but we're just holding it until we can find the real owner. So the state never takes total possession of it. We just maintain it until we can find the owner. And right now, we've got north of $300 million on the books. And so we figure about 1 in 4 Arkansans, if you kind of just go percentages, has unclaimed property.
Yeah, I checked the website. I'm not one of the 4, which was really disappointing.
I haven't been either, so I get it.
I was really hoping for that. But so when you say unclaimed property, I mean this is all monetary. It's not like somebody's get on there and be like, oh, I have like a '74 Ford sitting up at Little Rock that's mine, right?
That is hilarious. No, but we do take in safe deposit boxes. So we have a vault. Well, we have 2 rooms that we use as vaults, and they hold the contents of safe deposit boxes.
Okay.
That is a whole show unto itself.
That would be fun.
Talk with any banker you know, and they will tell you how weird the stuff is in safe deposit boxes.
Oh, I can't imagine.
No, you really can't. So the basic, like a real common piece of unclaimed property, monetary, would be a life insurance policy where no one in your family knew you had it.
Okay.
So I try, or a banking account where, again, you just forgot about it. My daughter-in-law had unclaimed property, and what hers was years ago, before she ever married her husband, she had rented an apartment and put a deposit. Well, when they got married, she moved in with him. Well, the deposit she moved and never told him where she was going, and so after 5 years, it got turned over to us.
Okay.
And so she, after I got elected, of course, once you start checking, you start checking for everyone you know.
Yes.
It's like, wait a minute, I wonder if that neighbor or this relative has it.
Yeah, I've put in my whole family.
Oh, we love it. And I mean, one of the reasons we got on Facebook is that's where we noticed tons of people, once they saw us on Facebook, they started searching. Free. And also, if someone sees me handing you a check, or sees you holding a check up, which we encourage people to take selfies and send it to us, and we publish them, they'll go, wait a minute, I know her, so this can't be a scam. I will call them. I will get on that website, which is claimitar.com. Please go on there and check and see.
Yes.
Or 1-800-CLAIM-IT. That's I say that all the time. I'll just sit here holding this the rest of the time. No, seriously, we want you to check. It's like getting to be a UPS guy. You know, who doesn't love seeing a UPS driver drive it? I mean, anyway, we love it.
Well, and I mean, it seems like, having all that there, it's just, you're just having to store it. I hate when people leave stuff at my house. It's not mine, I got to keep up with it, make sure it gets back to them. So no, this seems great. And it's great. It's a great service that the state offers for people to be able to, find that information easily online. So,
and every state has it.
Okay.
Actually, I'll give you that address, missingmoney.com. missingmoney.com. If you've lived in any state, go on missingmoney.com. It'll have a nice little map of the United States. You click on any state you've lived on and check there.
Oh, wow. That's cool. I had no idea.
Every state has it, plus many of the other countries are coming to us to learn about how to handle it. Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
That is pretty neat.
And it's just downright fun when, someone connects with their money that they didn't think about or know. And there are other people that know they've probably have it. Once your parent dies and you look, for example, and you start looking into stuff, we have those people coming to us. But the surprises that's just fun.
The best.
Oh,
yeah,
it is.
That's going to be great. So
it is.
So this job, as you said, you're kind of at the end of your term, so you're only going to be storing people's stuff in your care, or I guess not really their stuff, but their money in your care for 3 more years.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you have in mind after that? Any big plans?
To go visit all the national parks.
Oh, that
my husband and I were wanting to do pickup truck camping at all the national parks. But what my goal right now is to ensure the office is in really good shape for handoff. That old Girl Scout thing I was raised with. Speaking of which, it's Girl Scout cookie time right now.
Oh, man.
And I failed to order any, so I'm hoping they're in front of Kroger over the next couple days or Walmart or somewhere because I got to order some. Sorry.
So when this is on Facebook, you're going to have people just blowing you up with cookies. You're going to have so many cookies.
I need my Thin Mint fix.
Yeah, I'll take your extras. Me and Nathan will be sitting here chowing down on the show.
Oh my goodness. But so that attitude of I want to make sure I leave it in better shape. And so we've done several things, like we switched all over to VoIP phones, things like that. And of course, when I said that to my husband, who'd worked at the nuclear plant for 30-something years, he laughed. He goes, well, welcome to the 2000s, honey. But so we've done several things. We've switched up computer programs to make them more user-friendly. Anyway, and my next move, the vault with all the unclaimed property in there, the stuff from safe deposit boxes, is to have an auction.
That sounds so fun.
It
sounds like the worst yard sale.
Well, and I am really, I am the most grateful person in the world. I have great people that work at that office, and the woman that runs, Lauren, who runs our vault, is just so on spot and making sure everything's in order. And we're starting the search right now. We're re-inventorying everything, and again, to make sure it's all there, taking pictures of everything. And then now we're going to search for the best way, because what's hard about that is, money's money, just cash is cash. And that's really easy to just give to someone. But, okay, your grandmother, for example, had a safe deposit box, and in it was a ring. Well, it's your grandmother's ring. Mm-hmm. Well, I know I can sell that for whatever. Obviously the jeweler's going to look at it, and he's going to tell me you need to start the bidding at, $85 or something. But to you, that ring's priceless.
Right.
$85. So I haven't had an auction in the 5 years I've been in office, because I just have had a push the whole time to please find the people that own the tangible things. Mm-hmm. Like I said, cash is cash, but the tangible things they're going to be irreplaceable. And we have, oh my goodness, we had one, and they haven't claimed it yet, so it's still there, a box with 3 beautiful, first off, cursive, no one writes in cursive anymore, beautifully handwritten letters from the 1940s, written from a Marine to his sweetheart when he was stationed overseas. I mean, incredibly precious. Now, what's kind of amusing about the letters are, so we trace it down. The man who wrote it, his last name is not the same last name as the woman who owned the box. which tells me they probably didn't marry, and her name is no longer the single name of who he addressed the letter to, which tells me she married someone else. And then I read the letters and realized why she might have kept them in the box instead of at her house. So, but wouldn't her relatives want to find? I mean, I
How
want to
neat
find
would that
that
be?
person. What can I sell that for?
Right.
You know, so for me, I've just taken that, getting those tangible items back to someone really seriously. So please,
And
you
do
know,
those items show up on this as well? If
Sure do.
That's amazing. And so if you
and it'll
have,
say safe deposit box contents on the
Okay.
website. Yeah.
and so it may be under, if it was like my grandmother, I should be searching under her name instead of it under, just looking for my name.
Correct.
So that's great. That's
Cash
really,
we keep in perpetuity. So I tell people, check for your parents, check for your grandparents, just keep checking. Also, I use this little cutesy phrase, but just like you have an annual physical checkup, as part of your annual fiscal checkup, go on my site because we get new stuff every year. Every year in October, they start turning it over, and around February, it's all ready to be claimed. So please don't, because I'll often, I checked 5 years ago. Okay, if you checked 5 years since, well, I don't have anything. I have never in 5 years spoken to a group where someone didn't have unclaimed property.
yeah.
And I it's always funny to me. I'll go, okay. You guys, no one here thinks they have any. All right, everyone get on your phone. And then sure enough, it's like, bingo, I did have some. I'm like,
That's so fun.
Someone has to have it.
Well, I think that's awesome. And thank you so much for sharing this information. I want to ask you one more question
Yes.
before we wrap up. We have seen a lot of, political action locally in a way that is fairly new for Russellville, or something we haven't seen in a long time. And so we have a lot of people running for office right now. You've been doing this for a long time. What is your advice to these candidates who are running now, people who are wanting to jump in and get involved at the local level?
First, thanks. I call a lot of candidates after the filing time, and I just call them up and I just say, hey, this is Andrea Lee. I'm citizen here in Pope County, and I just want to thank you for running. I think elections are healthy. I think having an opponent is may not be fun, but it is a healthy thing because it makes you analyze who you are and the job you've done. I think Pope County's getting shook up right now. I've not seen this many people interested in local races, and that's kind of exciting. I kind of feel bad when someone just keeps walking in to an office. Now, even if they're doing a good job, I went unopposed, I guess about 4 different times. And yeah, was that great? Because I was able to go out and help my friends and walk door to door for them. But when I was opposed, it's okay. I opposed someone when I ran the first time, and I called them up. I would say this: A, don't take it personally. B, call your opponent up and talk with them. I called up the man I ran against the very first time was Burt Page. And like I said, quite a gentleman. And I called him up and I said, Mr. Page, this is nothing against you. It's just, this is my JP district and I want to run, and, may the best person win. And, and I've never done negative campaigning. I've just always, my attitude is just tell people who I am. And he was, like I said, just totally the most wonderful, gracious man. And I'd recommend that. Call your opponent. Don't take it personally if someone's not going to vote for you. I know it feels personal. It really feels personal. And I get that. I mean, I had one woman just point blank as I was standing with my best friend who reached out and said, hey, this is my friend Andrea. She's running for this. And the person asked me what party I was running in. And when I told them, they said, well, I don't vote for that party. And I said, well, don't vote for a party, vote for me. And she didn't know what to say at that point. But just don't try your hardest not to take it personally. Try your hardest to just say, you know what, I'm doing this for the best of Pope County. Now, I'd like to see a lot more school board races.
Oh, yeah,
People
definitely.
don't realize the school board has one of the biggest budgets in the county. Huge. But people think of the city councilor or the quorum court as sexier, and that isn't the case. I mean, our education for our kids is a pretty big deal.
It is a huge deal, and it's really, and like you said, I mean, school board is a great place to start in politics if you're not, sure you want to jump in. And I mean, it's really the most fundamental building blocks of our local level democracy. You know, I mean, influences so many people, thousands and
Absolutely.
thousands of kids every year. So I totally agree with you on that. I realized after I asked you that question that we'll actually run this after the election, but it's still good advice.
There's still races happening
And there
in
will
the
be
fall.
more coming up in
Exactly.
November. And so,
Sure.
yes, definitely.
But thank you to everyone that ran. I mean, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I think majority of people that step up and sign on that dotted line, that takes a lot of guts because you are putting yourself out there. You know, it's easy for me to campaign for someone else.
Oh, totally.
It's way harder campaigning for yourself, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally believe that. I've never ran myself, but I've been on the background of a lot of campaigns, and I definitely feel for the candidates because it is a lot of.
It's
it's
tough.
a lot. You have to really put yourself out there, and people aren't always kind, but most people are. I think. I mean, it's usually a pretty good experience. So, anyways, well, Andrea, thank you so much for joining
thanks
us,
for having me.
sharing all this information, and make sure, folks,
Yeah.
you check it out. Claim It AR, right?
ClaimItAR.com.
.com. Check it out.
Awesome.
And we will have more recorded episodes coming up soon. Thanks so much for tuning in.